at a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi, brought to you by Grace and Singer.
For joining us for CVM News Afternoon. It's Thursday, July 10, 2025. I'm Curlin Brown. The second gun attack in Manchester within 45 hours took place in Miketown near Mandeville on Wednesday night. Ricardo Henry, otherwise known as Ricky or Matic, was walking home close to 11 o'clock when he was chased by two gunmen and shot multiple times. He was assisted to the Mandeville Regional Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Now, according to police sources, the man was complying with bail requirements to report to the police following charges connected to a previous shooting. The Mandeville Crime Investigation Branch continues to investigate whether these two incidents are related. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, the KCMC, on Tuesday approved a resolution for the Bureau of Standards to test the water quality being supplied by the National Water Commission, the NWC. Among those supporting the move is the Deputy Mayor. Here's Carla Ramdeen with more.
I am using this forum publicly to say to Minister Samuda and the NWC that under the leadership, under my leadership, I will at all times be willing to entertain them in a constructive discussion in the interest of the people of Kingston St. Andrew. I deliberately, as indicated, didn't want to make this type of statement until after it was completed the vote because I didn't want to influence the vote in no form.
PNP Caretaker for North Trelawney, Dr. Wickham McNeil, is accusing the government of making no water provisions for the people of Trelawney. He says the government of Jamaica is signing a contract to take water from the Martha Brae and to channel it into other parishes.
Them always say that water is life. Well, if water is life, Trelawney is on life support system because the water not good in a Trelawney.
And the People's National Party, the PNP, also continues to accuse the Jamaica Labour Party, the JLP, of colouring the water. PNP Caretaker for Eastern Hanover, Andrea Perkis, accuses the party of poor water management. Carla Ramdeen now has more.
PNP Caretaker for Eastern Hanover, Andrea Perkis, is accusing the JLP of being an uncaring government. Perkis blames the JLP for poor water infrastructure impacting scores of residents over the years. She says, as a result, some residents of Naklava have no running water, only catchments.
I drove in, I was on foot for a little bit. Oh my God! So many catchments, so many tanks, so many reservoirs. And you want to tell me that a member of parliament just drive past them? The water has a weird looking color. How can we provide water in a beautiful community as Nakalva to wash their hands and not to drink, not to bathe? What?
She also voiced concerns about damaged pipes in Montpelier, adding she will address the issue by fixing the booster systems if she's victorious in the upcoming general elections.
Why should we have the same water system from 10 years ago that is not working? They took out our standpipes, but they did not replace it with running water in our yards. How do you take something from someone and not replace it with something better?
Ms. Perkins was speaking at a PNP rally in the Chester Castle Division in Hanover recently. Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
The Member of Parliament for Central Westmoreland, George Wright, visited Baggy Road in Waterworks, where residents have long complained about impassable roads worsened by constant water overflow. Now, Wright recognized JLP councillor Donette Foster for initially responding to the community's cry by laying crushed stones on the once muddy road, but on a return visit, the MP says roadworks were being undone.
We are here today in Waterworks, a community called Baggy Road, right, where Councillor Donette Foster, who would have listened to the cry of the people. There's a bad road inside here, a lot of water, a lot of marl on the road, and she decided to put stones, crushed stones on the road, which she did. Residents love the stones, and lo and behold, today, when I come here, I would have seen a grader removing the stones from the road surface and then turn it into mud. As you can see, there's a lot of mud here on the road now. So I am here this morning. The residents are out complaining that they need back the stone. So all I would say to the councillor caretaker to just please the residents of Baggy Road. They need back the stone, and that is what is needed at this time.
News at Noon continues in a moment.
Welcome to our place, where your imagination can blossom into something amazing.
Where you can get tertiary level education at a practical level.
Where you can be as creative as you dare.
Harnessing cutting-edge technology.
To create world-class entrepreneurs and critical thinkers.
Where even lecturers gain benefits from our experience.
Your place is the Vocational Training Development Institute, where tertiary level education and training is empowering and transforming lives.
You belong here!
Ashman's Equipment, the new name in forklift sales and rentals in Jamaica. Top quality, low prices, fleet discounts available, 12-month warranty, free service parts, daily rentals, crazy cheap. Ashman's Equipment, same forklift, better deals.
What's up, racing fans? Tune into CVM to see all of the live action from Rally X.
An all-new Rally X highlights this Friday at 10 p.m.
We welcome you back with another side to the Little London horror we've been hearing about. Allegations are a resident now behind bars may have been engaging in a ritualistic act, and a senior makeshift burial spot inside the house could have been an experiment.
Nothing eerie from the outside of the house in the middle, surrounded by other dwellings. Not even the Black Gate. After all, it's been there for decades. The owners now live overseas, we were told, leaving a female caretaker, 54-year-old Gina Robinson, in charge. However, all hell broke loose on July 6 on Old Hope Road in Little London, Westmoreland, when an immediate relative who wanted to spend time at the house was denied access and was forced to turn up with the police when the 3-day final notice given to Miss Robinson passed.
My name is Reverend Perrin, Custos of Westmoreland, and I, like so many Jamaicans, have heard the news of this unfortunate incident where a woman who died over 2 years ago was only now discovered.
Dead inside the house without a trace, no odor. Her name, Viola Destin. A complete stranger, it seems. Her corpse preserved.
If you put the lady on one mattress and then put one other mattress, and keep on a cover with plastic and this. So the final one was the tarpaulin. And around the tarpaulin now she nearly done with board. And after she nearly done with board, now she takes sand and dirt and throw around the board. So you kind of seal it now. When they take out the body, everybody have on dress. And here come up nice and same way,
All eyes now on Ms. Robinson, who operated a small space of worship, a mother and a daughter, her congregation. Robinson apparently deeply entrenched in a belief of self-proclaimed power, reincarnation, resurrection, allegedly guided by a prophet who lives overseas.
I don't think the woman just did natural, so because woman did natural and after the lady did now you will get bombing things to prepare before.
Other allegations have come up. The prophet supports all three females financially, and the lady mummified was a loner. A man who claimed he dropped off Miss Viola at the location was told when he inquired about her once, she was at a better place. The interpretation, she was elsewhere, safe, not dead. There was also another male in the picture whose handiwork paid off, $650,000, even though he angered the prophet.
She used to help move up furniture in our house and something. And one day over there, and the lady come and say, prophet just called and said you're not supposed to be in the house because you're a sinner.
So who helped this female caretaker with such a big cover-up? One described as quiet and hard-working with a love for planting and taking care of her flowers. The only real Christian in Old Hope Road. If the 2-year incarnation of Viola Destin had taken place, the only evidence left behind written on a piece of paper in addition to the parting 3 words, rest in peace, were her age, 80, and the date of death, December 10, 2023. Gina Robinson is now facing charges of failure to report the death of a person, preventing the lawful burial of a corpse, and attempting to pervert the course of justice. Curlin Brown, CVM News.
At the same time, there are renewed calls for a legislation to protect the nation's elderly population following the morbid discovery of the mummified remains of the old lady in Westmoreland. Speaking on CVM's lead story, a lecturer in the Department of Sociology, Psychology and Social Work, Sandra Latibaudiere, says the country needs to take a similar approach to what exists under the Child Care and Protection Act.
Modeling the Child Care and Protection Act, where you would have a children's advocate, because coming out of the Child Care and Protection Act, there was the establishment of a registry and a register, which is what you're talking about, and as well as the establishment of a children's advocate. And so that was a position that I placed when I went to the Parliament to put that forward as one of the considerations, where you have regular visits, just like what you, and we do have in some parishes, we have home visits. And the Ministry of Health, to give them their due, there are community aides that go and visit. If you are registered with a particular clinic in your community, they do come and visit if you miss your appointment. So we do have some of those services in place. It's not standardized. It's not, not every parish has the same level of coverage, but it does exist.
The third National Climate Forum, hosted by the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, highlights higher temperatures and decreased rainfall as its main focus. These and other major climate changes were part of the discussion held on Monday. Crystal Williams has the latest.
As the country faces climate changes such as more frequent droughts, increased temperatures, and natural disasters, there is no better time for the Meteorological Service of Jamaica to host their third National Climate Forum. The forum, held on July 7, 2025, gave insight on the recent climate change developments, emphasizing the conditions of the country's standpoint in the face of natural disasters. Mr. Evan Thompson, Principal Director of the Meteorological Services of Jamaica, provides additional insight into the ambitions of the forum.
What the intention is for these forums is to apprise our nation, apprise all our stakeholders about what is really happening with our climate and what the projections are for the next few months, so that we can prepare ourselves for what we will encounter where climate change and climate variability and actually the movements of our climate are concerned.
According to Mr. Thompson, predictions show that though the increase in rainfall may not seem significant in any one year, the country has in fact been experiencing less rainfall and warmer temperatures over the past 30-year period.
So we have moved from where we were talking about a period from 1971 to 2000. Now we're at the point where we're talking about 1991 to 2020, which is a 30-year period that tells us how our climate is actually operating at this time and how it has changed from what we used to see 10, 20, 30 years ago. And what we have noticed is that, of course, all of us are experiencing the higher temperatures, and it has concluded that there are actually higher temperatures being experienced. And so there is a trend toward a warming of Jamaica, not just the planet, but Jamaica.
Various sectors such as the education, health, energy, water, agriculture, and tourism interests were invited and represented in order to make further decisions on how the country can prepare for the changing climatic conditions.
What we noticed from our research is that the patterns of our rainfall have actually changed somewhat. Whereas we would normally get most of our rainfall May to June, much of that has shifted a little bit earlier, more into the April to May, and June is becoming a drier month. Even drier than July now, and July used to be that low point in the summer period.
Still more to come after this.
Attention registered voters! Remember to collect your renewed voter ID card before the upcoming general election. If you registered to vote in 2016 or after and did not get your new ID card, it may have been automatically renewed. Simply visit your EOJ constituency office to collect your voter ID card. Contact the Electoral Office of Jamaica at 888-991-VOTE or 922-0425-9 for more information.
The time by Subaru is 12:15.
Join us this week on Tourism One-on-One as we examine the growth of the Morgans Group, the local bedding manufacturer, and how they have benefited from various initiatives of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, including through the Tourism Linkages Network.
Thanks for staying with us. A somber mood hangs over the public transportation sector following Sunday's tragic crash in Trelawney, which claimed the lives of 5 taxi operators. The Transport Operators Development and Sustainable Services and All Voice Route visited the crash site to pay tribute and speak on the devastating loss.
What many motorists unfamiliar with the space might not have known is that numerous deadly crashes occur along this stretch of road in the Salt Marsh area just outside Falmouth, Trelawney. There are no crash alert signs except for tire impressions and mangled metal bearing evidence of the treacherous turf. It's been to the detriment of those whose lives and limbs have been taken here, 5 St. Catherine residents, its latest victims, early Sunday morning. Despite road safety appeals and efforts, crashes continue. Lawmen are concerned.
Today at about 2:30 a.m., we saw a single motor vehicle accident that claimed the life of 5 persons and caused injuries to 7 persons along the Salt Marsh Main Road in Falmouth. We cannot divulge the information of the deceased persons at this time, as the family members have not yet been officially contacted. Once again, we appeal to road users to drive within the speed limit.
Amid his appeal for reduced speed and heightened care on the roads, the commanding officer remains baffled by another aspect of the findings.
The minibus was traveling from Spanish Town to attend a party in in Hanover. We're not sure where this party would have been held because at the time this motor vehicle accident occurred, all parties should have been over because parties go up until 2 a.m.